Maybe it's today. Start of a new day. I heard it a lot yesterday. Unity. Maybe today we turn the corner. Maybe it's a new start today. Maybe today at 1 o'clock, the Lobos get their first win of the conference season. Maybe it's a new day. You can only hope, right? Maybe if we all join together, we all come together in unity, maybe today the Lobos can snap their 8-game skid in conference play. Or, if that doesn't happen, then San Jose State will. So for somebody today, it'll be a new day. What's good, y'all, and happy new day. I think they call it Thursday. Welcome to our day. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. And ProView Networks, you can watch the show there. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. Micah produces on the radio side. It looks like Jay Pohl and Josh today on the TV side. JJ, for somebody, today will be a new day. For somebody, whether it's New Mexico or San Jose State, their 8-game conference skid to start the season will come to an end. That's because there's no tie-in in basketball. There's no tying in basketball. Somebody will win at Burns Arena in St. George, Utah today.
And somebody post-game will get to answer questions about what was different. Why did it work today? What did you get better at? How did you improve? What did you learn from all those other games? So indeed, it is a different day for the Spartans and Lobos. What does it all mean? Well, it means at least someone will get to go back to the hotel room with a smirk on their face going, whew, needed that one.
San Jose State is 2-10 overall, 0-8 in the Mountain West Conference. New Mexico, 4-8 overall. They are 0-8 in the Mountain West Conference. Now, both of these teams are in very similar situation. I know you know the Lobos story and how that is getting set to change, where they're going to be welcomed back into their state of residence after this series to practice before they go back out on the road to play. I don't know if you know how much San Jose State has been in a relatively similar situation because of their county, not because of state regulations, but because of what's going on in Santa Clara County. They have been living, playing, practicing in the Phoenix area. They've been playing some of their games in a Grand Canyon, I think, some of their games in like in like a gym, like a sports and wellness type of a gym setting. And it's been rough on them. Now, they had a good outing, a really good outing against Boise State. The second game of the Boise State series had a shot to beat the Broncos at the end of that game. Their wins this year were against Fresno Pacific and Benedine Christian of Arizona, the same team that the Aggies beat. That's who they've beaten this year. They're struggling, man. They don't have a Division I victory. They also played Utah State and Boise State like New Mexico has. They got swept by Fresno State 79-64 and 80-65, and then Colorado State handled them 90-57 and 88-61. So it looks like New Mexico, except for UNM's 6-point loss at UNLV. They had the 1-point loss to Boise. The only difference is the Lobos' close loss was their most recent game as opposed to one that was buried up a little higher in the schedule. These are two teams that look a whole lot alike, JJ.
Yeah, and it's not a place you want to be saying, hey, we look exactly like the San Jose State Spartans right now. But that is what has happened this year. And it's one that you start breaking it down. And for the Lobos, they play defense like they did last time out against UNLV. They should be in a pretty good position to at least be on the plus side in this series against San Jose State. Take that next step moving forward. And it's a conversation about what would have changed with this Lobo basketball team if the schedule was flipped. Because to this point, they have played the toughest Mountain West schedule in the league. And yet they're 0-8 and have been blued out in most of those games. I don't think a lot changes, but it's just confidence, grinding, who is still working, how is this team functioning together. I think we did, despite the loss, see a lot out of this Lobo basketball team because it could be so easy for them to just continue to go out there and when things not go their way, just keep getting blown out and just keep losing games 20,
Yeah.
25 points. Now, the competition is changing, and I think we all understand that. We all realize that.
For a week.
It's much like the Dixie State game. It was a win, but then you look and say, well, I don't really think that means much against UNLV because you got to show it against a different opponent. This is one that you don't want to have a blowout. Like it's if you win by 6 or 16, okay, but losing to San Jose State by 20 or 25, just I don't think there's any. But yeah, they're 0-8. We've talked about it, but there's no coming back from that. Blown out by San Jose State.
San Jose State's best player opted out and then transferred, and so they're without Seneca Knight. Where did he end up? He ended up at, did I see Auburn? Where did Seneca Knight?
LSU.
LSU. I knew it was down in the SEC.
They get some pretty good players. They just happen to go to
they do
better schools.
Well, okay, and I haven't watched a ton of them. I don't know how much you've watched. I watched some of the Boise State series. Richard Washington, if he plays like he played that day, and he's averaging over 21 points a game in league play, will be the best player on the floor.
Yes.
He's a baller. He scored. He single-handedly almost beat Boise State, and he missed the last shot. But he single-handedly was creating. So he's terrific. I don't know that they got a whole lot after that, but Washington's the guy to watch. Dalcourt is their next best player, but if you can contain him, and it sounds really easy, focus on their one guy. JJ, look, I think you win by one, and you make progress. You're saying don't get blown out. This is one of those. First of all, I think this team's probably better than Dixie State. I don't know why I think that. I saw Dixie State, and I've seen San Jose State play separate occasions. I've seen Dixie State play once against New Mexico. I've seen a little bit of San Jose State. I just feel that there's more there. I think John Prelo's a really nice coach. Not that the guy who's been 29 years at Dixie State isn't. But my eye test tells me this is a little bit better team. Now, where are they mentally? Like that's a whole nother piece of the puzzle. Like New Mexico I gotta believe you get a little bit of a boost in the hotel when you know you're coming home, right? When Paul said after the first Utah State loss out in Lubbock, when he said, I'm not gonna lie, they were deflated when I told them we're not going home after Friday's game, and we hit a wall, and all those things that he said, and you're kind of going, whoa, why'd you? And they went home anyway, by the way. Now knowing that they get to go home not just for a stopover to do some laundry, but that they're going to live there, like they're going to practice there, I got to believe that's rejuvenated you a little bit. Wouldn't you think so?
I should add some energy to the tank because the guys after that layover in Albuquerque the last time, they talked about how it did help them a little bit mentally. It was just a chance for some normalcy, recharge, think about the situation, and now that the teams know for sure, like it's not they get to come back, they get to practice, all the things that we've talked about, what you've laid out, it should boost their energy. And so when it comes to that, the effort, the energy, which was pretty good against UNLV. Now, the offense is what it is at this point in time, but in terms of making it difficult on opponents, playing defense hard, that should not be an issue today.
Area code 505-246-0610. That's how you can be part of the show today and every day. 505-246-0610. Emails Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. Follow JJ and tweet at him, _JJ Buck. And on the Facebook, you can watch the show, The OD in the AM. So, JJ, after the Dixie State thing, I asked that question of a couple of players, about the mental piece of coming home, and they all talked about that. So I think everything points to you're really, really, really. I don't want to say you're going to find out who they are. I think you got a pretty good idea. But everything points to tonight could be the night, right? The fact that they know they get to go home, that the restrictions for practice have been lifted. They have an opponent that is abundantly beatable, who has lost, just like they have, 8 straight in conference play. They have an opponent who is going through what they are going through in regards of journey and mentally, right? And so, and they're coming off, I don't even think arguably, their best performance in league play. All those fair? So tonight, everything points to tonight. It's different. Everything's going to change. We're going to come together, unity. It's a new day. Now we start over again. I know you heard a lot of it yesterday. Maybe it plays over to Lobo basketball tonight. I know you're hoping so, Lobo fan. I mean, that's why I think you're going to be disappointed if we sit here tomorrow morning and they lose this game. It's a 1 o'clock in the afternoon game. You got to watch it on the Mountain West Network or listen to it over on 96.3 News Radio KKOB. Does your gut tell you today's the day?
If they play defense like they did against UNLV, they can beat San Jose State. It's not going to be pretty. Nothing this Lobo team does is going to be pretty this season, but they can beat the Spartans with that effort they put out last time.
All right. I agree with that on the defense. I think a couple of things. I think they got to get point guard play, and let's see how they play in the post. This isn't an overly big team. Let's see what we talked the other day about running some through the post. We'll talk more about that. I will tell you this. I got to believe San Jose State's waking up this morning going, today's the day. Today's the day. We've got someone that we can beat. We're done playing Colorado State and Utah State and Boise State, who kicked the dog out of us except for that one game. Today's the day. Richard Washington's thinking, I'm getting off today. We're going to be in Dixie, Utah. Where am I at? St. George, Utah. All right. They're thinking just like you are. Today's the day. I'm not telling you this is going to be easy. I don't think it is. I watched this team play Dixie State a week ago on the same floor. Sure as hell didn't look easy to me. They're not good enough to take anybody for granted. What do you think, Global fan? Is today? Has everything changed? Is it a new beginning? We're going to come together. We're going to unify, not see blue and red, Lobos and Spartans. But we're going to be together. We're going to be united. Huh? It's today the day. 505-246-0610. Come on in. Jerry Palm will be with us coming up at 8:30 this morning. We'll talk to him about college basketball, what's going on. Boy, what a night in the NBA. We'll get through some of that. Kyrie was back with the Nets. Did you see what Clint Capella did? Last guy to do that was Shaquille O'Neal. I'm not lying. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
You've seen Rich Eisen on TV.
Played over to Madrid, plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
He got it!
It's good. Oh my God! On the last second shot. He did. Oh my God! Makes it in from 25 feet, and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed, and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. And it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown.
Colin Sexton at 39 points. He is absolutely dazzling here at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse tonight. Sexton out front against Green. Sexton steps back. 3. There's another one. Colin Sexton, an absolutely incredible display of long-range shooting. Cavs by 11, 142-131.
Cleveland Cavaliers radio. When was the last time we played Cleveland Cavaliers radio? Probably when LeBron was there. Why is that a deal? I mean, who cares? The Cavaliers went on a Wednesday night in January. They beat the Brooklyn Nets 147-135. Oh, wait, they beat the Brooklyn Nets? In double over. The Brooklyn Nets, those Brooklyn, Kevin Durant, James Harden. Kyrie Irving was back. Kyrie went for 39 last night? 37. Durant, 38. Harden only had 21. When was the last time Harden only had 21? But you just heard Colin Sexton, who went for 42. And the Cavaliers beat the Nets 147-135. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. J.J., we got to see the big three together on the court. Kyrie was back, and for the first time with James Harden. Look, they're going to score points. They scored 135 in double overtime last night. I think the real question, you tell me which of those guys, maybe Durant, and when DeAndre Jordan's out, I don't know what they've got in the post, and maybe they'll score enough points to cover all that. Harden doesn't play defense. I think we know that. Kyrie, I don't think has ever been a great defender. Can they play defense to win a championship? Because they just gave up 147 to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 7-7.
Yeah, that's a story of the night. Colin Sexton scoring 42 points, and what the Cavs did to the Nets, just shredding that defense. The big three, it works. And when they want to lock in, they can score the basketball. They can figure it out offensively. And we saw that. James Harden is the point guard. He had 21 points, 10 assists, finished with triple-double. Kyrie slid in as essentially the shooting guard, and Kevin Durant did his thing. So it can work offensively. Defensively, it's a huge question mark, and that's what they have to figure out the rest of the season, is what kind of effort, how good are they going to be on that end of the floor, or they're going to have a lot of games like this where, yeah, the numbers are gaudy, and those three guys are going to get theirs, but you end up losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers. How are you going to look against the Brooklyn Nets, Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, because they will get you enough in the regular season, but in a 7-game series in the postseason, that will be the downfall of the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, I'm going to tap the brakes because honestly, I don't care enough to about one game the first time they're together on a Wednesday night in Cleveland in January. I think it's good conversation for the Thursday morning, I imagine, and for Wednesday night and Thursday for everybody to talk about it. I just don't think that that's what they're going to look like come the playoffs. I think it's their first time together, and I totally agree with you. They're going to score and they're going to get points, and Colin Sexton went nuts. Well, everybody's got, especially when you get in the playoffs, everybody's going to have somebody like a Colin Sexton, right? Everybody you play is going to have someone who can go nuts. If you play Philly, if you play Boston, if you play Miami, if you play Milwaukee, everybody's got a dude or a couple of dudes. I think if I'm concerned, and I'm going to, again, go back to my preface where I'm really not, my concern would be, are they constructed to win a championship because can they play enough defense? And if you play somebody with a post presence, should you be concerned that DeAndre Jordan's really right now your only stop down there, and can they play enough perimeter defense?
Well, we know Kevin Durant can be a menace and cause trouble. You just laid out. We all know that James Harden and Kyrie Irving have their issues defensively, and they don't have that other guy to pick it up. She said, DeAndre Jordan's not guarding anyone on the perimeter. It was a Jarrett Allen revenge game last night. He dropped a double-double off the bench for the Cavs. He was a part of that big trade that brought Harden to the Nets. And looking down the roster, there's some young guys. There's some veterans on the bench, but no one you look at and say, all right, they're going to slide in and change. Like Joe Harris is not that guy defensively. He played 41 minutes last night. He's there to shoot and
6 points.
Be a guy off the basketball. Yeah, well, when you look at the totals, it's not going to be a Joe Harris day, but that's the main concern. Because ultimately, if Kyrie plays like that, they're going to be all right because you're not going to worry about, there's only one basketball, who's going to take over. Because it feels like James Harden might be the guy more nights than the other two that is taking that point guard role, getting everyone else involved, and then he'll have his blow-up games. It's just really when they get into that 7-game series, you're down in Game 5, Game 6, you need that defensive stop. Where's it coming from?
Big Three scored 96 points last night. That's what Sacramento and Minnesota both scored in their games last night total as teams. Like the Big Three, I agree with you. They're going to get theirs. They're going to eat. Just can you defend? I'm gonna reserve judgment. You know how I feel with sample sizes of one. I know what I saw last night. I know what y'all saw. All right. If you want to overreact, that's cool. To me, I haven't made a decision. Jury's out. They score. They've got enough talent to win a championship, but can they stop somebody? And when they get up against someone who can score, and hell, Cleveland put up 147 on it. I mean, 147. Granted, double overtime. Okay. But that's a lot of points, man. That's a lot of points. Indiana can score. Philly can score. Boston can score. Miami can score. Toronto can score. Milwaukee can score. I'm not as foregone conclusioned on that as maybe some people are.
No, but it's one night. The first time they're all on the court together. You are correct. But it was also like Darius Garland wasn't playing. Seti Osman dropped 25 points. Like, it's concerning, like, if the Cavs are going to go off on you, and they do have one good player. I think Colin Sexton is emerging as a quality guard in the NBA. But when you're giving 25 to Seti off the bench, Dotson with 15 points, rookie out of Kansas, Taurean Prince 17-7. He was another player that came over from the Nets. Like, the role players for the Nets used to have did pretty good last night for the Cavs.
All right, one other thing in the NBA last night I want to point your attention to. I would typically I just wouldn't even mention the Hawks beat the Pistons 123-115. And okay, Clint Capella did something that hadn't been done since Shaquille O'Neal in 2004. 27 points, 26 rebounds, and 5 blocked shots. Whatever you make of it, and I'm not putting him in the Hall of Fame. But for one night, in an overtime win, Clint Capella was Shaquille O'Neal. He was look. We've watched him have some really nice playoff moments over the years, right? And I think we've talked about him being a really good piece on different teams. 27, 26, and 5 is a stunning line. A stunning line.
That's what happens when you pay Mason Plumlee $70 million to be your starting center. Detroit, that's what you get against opposing centers in the NBA, is not a lot of defense inside. I have no idea what they're trying to do in Detroit, but I know what Atlanta's trying to do, and it's put enough veterans around this young core in Atlanta to make a run in the playoffs, and Clint Capella is the perfect center for that team. Now, if they can get healthy, they can get Bogdanovich back from his knee injury. Danilo Gallinari has been out battling knee problems once again. And, of course, Rajon Rondo is on the roster. We know what he's there for if they do get to the playoffs, to be playoff Rondo. Pieces are there. They've built this team very well in Atlanta. And when you can have a night like that, dominate, Clint Capella, Trae Young went off. Pretty good.
Yeah. A little perspective, just so you know where it is. So Clint Capella last night became the first player to put up at least 25 points, 25 rebounds, and 5 blocks since Shaquille did it in 2004. The only other players to accomplish that in the last 35 years, Dikembe Mutombo, Patrick Ewing, and Akeem Olajuwon. It's pretty good company. So that's just a little perspective for you. I know I hate throwing out numbers without perspective. That's what that meant. That's what that was for him last night. So pretty impressive, and that's your night for the most part in the NBA. All right, I got a lot of emails already coming in. I got some stuff from yesterday. If you want to get into the governor's decisions, high school sports, where we are, and you know, I got an email. Basically, it's the right time because the governor's people said so. Okay, and I'll read you that because I asked yesterday. You know, why now? Like I'm all for it, but you know, why now? Was there a piece because there was a little heat put on with the United thing, because United's going to have to start playing soon because the double standard was put out, or is it simply because the science tells you now? And I got it's a science tells you now email, and I'll read it to you. I got another reason, JJ, when we come back, why it's a big night for Lobo basketball and Paul Weir. And I might think it's bigger than some. Some might not think it's a big deal. Some might think it's a much bigger deal. Tell you that as the Lobos get ready to play San Jose State. 8:30, Jerry Palm will be with us. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks and 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
They're going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles, look out! Chavez up the sideline, stays in bounds, touchdown, Volcanovic!
That replay, I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
Run with it, stumbling, gets down into the end zone, and looking to throw it, and he throws it in the end zone, caught!
First and 10 from the 11, and spin move for Smith, push the B button, dance into the end zone.
Throw it, looking, here comes the rush, stepping up. Pavia now running around, being chased, looks across, throws it up, man's wide open. Ball is caught, touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's gonna run, he's got a lot of green in front of him, to the end zone, touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set, he's going to run with it again and dives and
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off, great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Ramos wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. And had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, get it. Look out. Ramos can
Going through different things at different point in our journey. It's been a long year, and mentally and physically they're going through stuff. So I think sometimes when guys play more or guys play less, it may look like something basketball-wise, but oftentimes so far this year it's been something outside of basketball, and I just want to kind of protect our players. I mean, they're my number one priority, and their physical and mental health is my number one priority, and I think we just have to keep putting that in mind when we go into games, and we'll continue to do so the rest of the way.
Lobo basketball coach Paul Weir talking about the mental state of his team. They are 0-8 in conference play. They play today, this afternoon, 11 o'clock, JJ, over on News Radio KKOB, 12:30 in the afternoon. Is it a holiday or something? Is it why are we playing the game at 1 o'clock?
Gym availability.
Is that what it is?
Homeboy's got a practice this evening, probably.
Yeah, that's probably right. No, you're probably right. Dixie State wants in their gym, and so if you want to play at 1, you can play at 1. Doesn't matter. Fans aren't going to be there, so you can watch the game at 1, listen to the game at 1. If you want to watch it, you got to dial it up on the Mountain West Network. Just go to the MW.com, and you can go through it there. JJ, it's a big game for a lot of reasons, and you're going to go, come on, man, it's the biggest pillow fight in the country. You got 2 0-8 teams. You throwing softies at each other, and I get it from the outside. Records mean something, right? You keep track, you keep scores. It means something, right? Paul Weir's in his 4th season. Do you know what his overall record is as a coach at the University of New Mexico?
Is it like 56 and 55?
It is 56 and 55. Yes. I don't know what it means to you. I used to hear all the time about Rocky Long. Well, yeah, but he's got an overall losing record. That's because they started out with 2 wins and then 3 wins and then 4 wins. People care. And it's a number. You keep score. I don't know that it's a huge thing, but I think it's a thing. What your career record is, and I think you certainly want it to be above 500, don't you?
Yes, and especially in this situation right now where things have been going south, and it's piling up, and people are done, and there's a lot of people past the point of no return, and this is another thing that they can add to their list and say, well, let me tell you about this basketball program and the coach. Here's his record. Here's what he's done, and it's gone the wrong way for Paul Weir.
Yeah. Now, I don't think records are everything. Jean Prelo, the guy on the other side today at San Jose State's considered a pretty good coach, and his record in his 4th season at San Jose State is 17 and 85. There's no coming back from that, by the way. Certainly different challenges at San Jose State than there are in a typical year at New Mexico. Fair to say?
Yes.
All right. So I'm not sure you're comparing apples to apples. It's more like Lobos to Spartans. But all that said, and it's funny, you said earlier, it just resonated with me. You don't want to be compared to San Jose State. And I'm thinking, yeah, if in football, you would have loved that this year. I'm just saying. Are these the same old Spartans? They seem to be, but in football, it was a whole different looking Spartans team, wasn't it? A whole different looking Spartans
Champs.
Mountain West.
I don't think. Sure, as Kevin Garnett told us, anything is possible. But the one thing in my lifetime, I don't think we're ever going to say San Jose State is Mountain West champs in basketball. Like, it is just one of the most difficult jobs in the country. Somehow, some way, that basketball program never pops. When they do get a talented guy, he's immediately out. He's transferring, whether it's, we've seen it, USC, LSU, those guys are gone early. And Ninja Turtles, man, they're not getting the job done when it comes to keeping guys around.
Yeah. They took the Ninja Turtles off the court, didn't they? Didn't they take them off last year?
I don't remember.
The big old that was Ninja Turtle court. There's no argument with me. You'll never convince me it was anything but Ninja Turtles. Last night in the league, did you watch the Boise State-Fresno State game at all? Did you catch it?
Good game until like 6 minutes to go.
Fresno State had them. Fresno State was winning at halftime. Fresno State was winning the majority of the second half, and then Boise State went on a 19-1 run, outscored them 45-21 in the second half, and ran away and hid, and ended up winning by 22. I mean, you look at the score, and you're like, yeah, that's what I thought. Boise State was going to beat Fresno State by 22. That was a totally different game than that score tells you. Fresno State ran out of gas, and it's Fresno State looked like a team. And as I'm watching them in the first half, and as they're winning, I'm like, dang, we're going to give the Lobos trouble. I mean, they got some scores, they got some athleticism, and then all of a sudden they couldn't hold on to the basketball. And I give a lot of credit to Boise State. I mean, Boise State just turned it on and ran away and hit and won. What was the final? 73-51 was the final number. Alston, who's terrific, had 21. Shaver had 17 for them, and they ran away and hid. But Boise State just flipped the switch in the second half, JJ.
Yeah, and that's the team they can be when they come at you in waves. And once we've watched Boise State this season, we know there's so much more than just Derek Alston. They're really good. And for Fresno State, it's Orlando Robinson. He is their all-conference player. He can have his night, and he was pretty much held in check, which ultimately allowed Boise State to take over that game late. And it was totally different in the final 5 to 6 minutes, because you're watching this game, you're like, okay, Boise State is in trouble. Fresno's got them. This is a great contest. And then boom, as you mentioned, that 19-1 run, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the outcome you ultimately expected when it's all said and done. But for Boise State and Leon Rice, he's maybe pulling a Brian Harsin, wants to shake things up. I don't know if you saw this, but following the contest, the Boise State head coach said, he said, right now it doesn't feel like it would be very beneficial or very smart to take 11 teams to Vegas. So he wants to change the Mountain West tournament. He wants more leeway for the top teams in the Mountain West Conference, which of course means his squad this season.
What does he want to do?
Oh, he said he would. He doesn't want to see all 11 teams go. He pretty much wants the conference to change things, cater to the top teams, maybe even play first-round series at home, and then go to, say, a neutral site, in this case, Las Vegas, for your quarterfinals and semifinals. But he wants to cut down on the teams in the Mountain West tournament. And the problem is with that, if you think about it now, you do it now, it's something you're going to want to have happen every year.
Well, I think it's a horrible move for the long term. Didn't we? Where did we watch this? Was it in the WAC? We were just talking about, and they realized it was a bad move. Was it women not having all the teams in? No, it's nice of him to say when he's at the top, and he's not going to be at the top every year. He loses Derek Alston this year, and typically I would tell you don't get to change the rules midway, but this is COVID year, so yeah, you kind of do get to change the rules midway all the time. But I don't think, because Like what's the advantage? So he would get to play at home, so there'd be less of a chance that New Mexico would go in and upset him.
He wants protection for his team. He added post game last night, quote, if we're really a league that's trying to figure out how to get multiple bid and how to protect these teams that have put themselves in position for at-large bids, well, this is the year we need to be figuring out what's best, and it might not be what we've done before. There might need to be a door for us to be the smart league.
So only invite the teams. So what's he saying? Top 4? Just play a semifinal and so invite. It would be Boise State, Utah State. Most likely by the end when it all shakes out, Colorado State and San Diego State. Is that what you're thinking? I mean, Nevada's ahead of San Diego State in the standings, but San Diego State's already swept them. So just take those 4 teams to Vegas. Is that what he's saying?
He pretty much wants to eliminate
New Mexico, San Jose State. Yeah.
When it comes to conference play.
How come he's never said that when he's been at the bottom half?
Because it only benefits him now. And then he can play like, oh, I'm just thinking about the student athletes and less opportunity for things to happen. I think an overall conversation about it is fair. And if we want to say, hey, do you want to give out your auto bid to your regular season champ versus conference tournaments? But guess what? Conference tournaments make a lot of money. You've signed all these contracts. You've signed these deals for it, and it's not changing.
I used to actually really like Leon Rice. Over the last couple of months, I have really gone the other way on him. He really, really has fallen in love with himself, it feels like. I get it. He's been up for some jobs. I think he's a fine coach. What's he ever won? With all due respect. I mean, he's just developed a nice program up there. But what's he ever won up there? I'm just asking. They've gone to the tournament a couple times.
If you really felt this, bring it up in the offseason. Don't bring it up in the middle of this year when you happen to be in first place. And like, oh, by the way, I think it would be better for all of us as a league, if we put our good teams in position to get to the NCAA tournament, which is absolutely fine. Just don't bring it up now.
I'm sure New Mexico would rather this, and San Jose State, they're done. They don't want to do this anymore. Hey, let me ask you this: with all the talk of the American, isn't it fair to say the top teams in the American right now? Houston's really good. Houston, by the way, beat Boise State. Wichita State's good. Tulsa's all right. SMU's good. Would you say the Mountain West is better than the top of the Mountain West is better than the top of the American this year in basketball? Houston, Wichita State, Tulsa, SMU, Memphis. Memphis is 6-5. I would.
Yeah.
Just asking. I think when San Diego State gets healthy, I mean that win over UCLA and going to Arizona State are still really good wins for San Diego State. Yeah, they got swept by Neemias Queta and they lost that crazy ass game to Colorado State. But I still think they're pretty good. And I still think they're going to have their probably get a split with Boise State. I think they got to go up there. I don't like it at all because I just don't think you can sit here halfway through the conference season and say, all right, we're going to move the target again. Well, it's COVID, Jeff. You can do anything you want. I get that. You do that for necessity. Then what are you playing for now? What are you playing out the season for then? But if you're into it, I'm listening to you. 505-246-0610 on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Last night's sleep.
Where'd you see that?
Interrupted by pain? Tonight.
Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
Over this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says.
Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return.
Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win. And he got it! It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did.
Oh my God! Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in.
Ramos to Gaxiola. High window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovis.
That replay, I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown.
Right after reading through it a little bit, Leon Rice's comments, the head coach at Boise State, I'll back down a touch. I think there's some points in there. I don't know that you need to take 11 teams to Vegas and run them through hotels and everything. I mean, you and I have been there. If COVID's a big issue, and it seems to be, and it is, and it seems like it will be, is it best to run them through those hotels and do everything? Now, I mean, I don't know. You protect them. You put them in their rooms. You do what you're doing on road trips now. Maybe playing the first game of this tournament this year on campus sites isn't the worst idea. And taking, 8 teams to Vegas instead of 6. Does that make it any better? 8 teams, 6 teams? I mean, hell, if you take one team, you're exposed, right? Every team that goes exposed. I don't know where you are in contracts as far as hotels and the building, and so the business side of it. If you're just joining us, Leon Rice, the coach at Boise State, is suggesting thinking out of the box to protect the top teams in the league, and New Mexico's 0-8 and San Jose State's 0-8, and why we're taking them to a conference tournament. I don't think you could, JJ, eliminate them 4 weeks before the conference tournament and say, yeah, we're absolutely changing the way we do it. I think that's wrong. I'm down with being flexible. I think everybody's got to be flexible, and I would listen to trying to protect players. But I mean, if you're going to take 2 teams to Vegas, right? They're going through the hotel now. Is it less days? Is it? But I would listen to a conversation about keeping players healthy. If you're going to sit here and tell me we got to protect the top teams, what's going to be different any other year about protecting the top teams? And maybe that's the way you do it. It was Conference USA about 3 years ago, JJ. Didn't they go? The back end of their schedule, they changed up their schedule where top teams played top teams, so they wouldn't have RPI or net rank dragging games towards the end of the season, right? It didn't work, I don't think, but it was a novel idea. Like, I'll listen to it, and now that I heard Adam, hopefully he's talked to somebody above. There was a league statement in the story that I just read, and basically said this, that would be a membership decision, and as of, we're going forward with our format. But as I read through it, there's some valid points in there.
Yeah, it's not a crazy idea. It is all about timing. If you are legit about player safety, you should have brought this up before the season started.
And maybe you did.
Before you were in first place in the Mountain West and then telling everyone else, you know what? It matters about us and not you.
It's best for you to do this.
It'd be safer if we didn't have to play you and you potentially drag us down. And he's right. It's a year that it's going to be a terrible ending for some team. Like, there's going to be a team that wins a conference tournament and then has a COVID issue. Like, it's going to happen.
And the COVID infiltrated the team at the conference tournament. And then they're going to be going, why do we have conference tournament? I get it. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, but it's also one that halfway through the position you're in, now it's hard to say that, oh, I'm just really thinking about safety and all this. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking about the NCAA tournament. That's what this is ultimately about. It's about you making sure you make the NCAA tournament, which is your job as a head coach. But doing it midway through the season, why would teams continue to play? I think that's also a fair question. If the Mountain West said, you know what, we're actually only going to take the top 6 teams and go play a conference tournament, the rest of y'all have fun. Like, don't you think the San Jose State men at this point in time, it might be like, you know what, we'll go join the women. Like, we're not going to play the rest of this season. And if you say, all right, that's fine, but it's what are you then doing to the rest of the student athletes that are grinding, that are sacrificing, that are trying to do their best to put this conference season on so you all have games to play, and then you come out there at them like this and say, we can't take the risk with y'all. We're going to worry about us, but you over there, yeah, you might be having a bad season. Well, guess what? We're going to kick you to the curb.
Yeah, he's kind of saying, what's your priority? There's a lot of money each round. You go deeper into the NCAA tournament. The more teams you have in the tournament, the more chances you have to go deeper. And I get all that. And the concept of if you take your top 4 teams RPI-wise or net ranking-wise, which is Boise State, Utah State, San Diego State, and Colorado State, if you take those teams and say, all right, well, they're going to lose the conference tournament, but they're going to lose to each other. They're not going to lose to Fresno State or Wyoming or New Mexico because those are bad losses, right? Colorado State's on the bubble. They lose to New Mexico. They're done, or at least potentially done, right? San Diego State's on the bubble. They lose to Wyoming in the conference tournament. It's a bad loss. Yeah, but they beat UCLA. Yeah, but that was in November. They just lost the other day to a 100 or 200 and something RPI net ranking. I get where he's coming from. How about this? Go out and beat them. Like honestly, if you're better than Wyoming, go out and beat them again. Like, what are you worried about? Now, I'm listening. I'm listening if you want to tell me you want to do it in Boise. I'm not listening in a normal year, but I'm listening in a COVID year where you're going to tell me it's safer for them to go to stay at the Boise Ramada or the Marriott as opposed to the MGM Grand or something in Vegas, where, I mean, Vegas is pretty much open, right? I mean, stuff's happening, and you're going to tell me there's less exposure. Like, I'm actually listening to that. Now, I don't know what your TV contracts say. You can only eliminate so many games, JJ. I mean, really, I think CBS Sports has the rights to every one of those tournament games except for maybe that opening round, right? That fourth game. I don't know how much you can cut it, and I don't know what your agreement is with the arena, if you can get out of that, all of the business pieces to that. But all right, I'm listening a little bit, but I don't think you start eliminating teams. I don't. I think, to your point, you've got to give them something to play for. If you're going to tell me that New Mexico is going to have to go play at somebody as opposed to now, there's more travel there, right? Now there's more travel. You're saying, all right, New Mexico, go to Laramie, and then if you win, then you got to go to Vegas, right? In that play-in round, or right, there's more travel that way, but it's less time in Vegas. I'll listen to it.
And it's a question that I do think there's a legit conversation to. How should you hand out your automatic bid, especially if you're playing 18 to 20 games conference season?
Yeah.
Because we've seen it hurt smaller conferences. So I think there's a legit conversation to that.
Yeah, but that conversation's not going anywhere.
Well, not in the middle of the season.
But then what would you play your conference tournament for? Well, if you're not handing out the bid.
There's a conversation to eliminating conference tournaments overall.
You can have the conversation all you want. It's not happening because
but it doesn't happen in the middle of the season.
Right.
Because Leon Wright has a lot of valid points in that regard. Because, all right, you're getting money, but you're also not doing it in the NCAA tournament.
All right, 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's a long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go when he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Las Cruces. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transitions, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
It's not red teams and blue teams, it's purple. The red Lobos and the blue Spartans will make purple, but somebody's going to win now. It's a new day for somebody. Somebody's going to lose the 0 on their record. What's up, y'all? It's the opening drive. Glad you're with us on a beautiful Thursday. 505-246-0610 is how you become part of the show. You can watch us on the ProViewNetworks.com or go to our Facebook page, The OD in the AM. I guess it's a YouTube piece as well. Is that the best way to do it? Thumbs up, thumbs down? I don't know, however you want. JJ Jerry Palm will join us at 8:30. I'm interested what Jerry would have to say about the conference tournament piece and the Mountain West. He's got 4 Mountain West teams in the tournament right now in his bracket.
It's a good year as it sits right now. With all the uncertainty, you'd think it might actually be more difficult if ultimately they start defaulting to the Power 6 leagues. But so far, so good for the top teams in the Mountain West Conference. And that's why I think, like, if we take a step back from Leon Rice dropping this nugget, like, at this moment in the middle of the season, it's a fair conversation out of season. I love conference tournaments. They're fun. They're entertaining. But it's also not the best way to give out your automatic bid. It's just not. Because you want to talk about regular seasons being meaningless, it's that in college basketball.
I just don't. I think that ship has sailed. I mean, you and I have said this for a long time. It's not the best way. Your best team doesn't always get in. In fact, often your best team does not get in. I think it's well determined. It's not the best way, but it's the most lucrative way, inarguably, and hence it turns into the best way, and it keeps everybody playing. And I just don't think I don't see it going backwards. We'll talk to Jerry about that, too. Dwight says, what Fried Rice is basically saying, Jeff, is he thinks Boise State's going to be the number 1 seed, so they should get a bye into the later rounds, and then those clubs should have to come play them on the blue. Who do you think's better, them or Utah State? You like Boise State better, right?
Yes, I have a slight edge to Boise State.
Because of their backcourt, because Alston's when they get on the floor, Alston's the best all-around player on the floor. I mean, Cade is terrific, and he's a game changer. But they've got 2 scorers, maybe even 3 at Boise State, and they're more versatile.
I think it is really close. I think Marco Anthony has been one of those players you're like, wow, okay, this kid transferred from Virginia for Utah State is really appalling. And I'm with you. I think ultimately they'll split the regular season series and go down to the wire if they meet up in Vegas or wherever they decide to play the tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe it'll be in Albuquerque. Oh, wait, I promise it won't be in Albuquerque. Never mind. Edward, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, sir.
You know, it is a good day. Yesterday, deep 1.5 inches of snow by 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, sun's shining, birds are chirping. You got to love this weather, man. It's incredible. I listened intently to how you broke down. Is it Coach Rice that you're elaborating on?
Mm-hmm.
Is that his name? Yeah. You know, when you just take excerpts and read headlines, it could stir emotions. But as you break it down and unwrap this and unravel it, what he's saying has a lot of credence. I agree with JJ. Now, the timing of it, off-season, during the season, these are extenuating circumstances with the COVID situation. But if you just take his main point, I agree with him. If your conference is one that, you know, isn't probably going to get a lot of bids, maybe it's 2, 3, 4, or traditionally you only get
3
2
or 4
in.
is a lot.
Yes. What you want to do is remove variables and mitigate the risk of you getting less teams in. And that's essentially what he's saying is, let's mitigate the risk. If we're being held to a standard, RPI or however they judge NCAA teams, I'm not a content expert, nor do I have it committed to memory. But whatever criteria they're using, if you have an opportunity to manipulate the end of the season to where it'll be favorable for your conference, then I think you should do it. Quite honestly. Didn't you say a conference did that already, that they set up their schedule to where the best teams played each other?
Yeah, but not in the tournament. So Conference USA a few years back, and JJ, I don't know that they still do this, but they went the back end of their schedule. I want to say was the last 4 weeks where they took the top teams and had them play each other again. So you played a round robin. Everybody played once, and then so basically, if you had a team that was a top 50 net ranking, they weren't going to get dragged down by playing some of the teams at the bottom of the conference. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And then so the other side of the coin is, how many years have we rooted as New Mexicans, right? as U.S. Americans, no pun intended. That's so funny every time I say it. How many times did we root for New Mexico State to not get clipped in their conference tournament, right? That's a little bit different scenario, but you want to remove that variability because they had a great regular season, but that one getting beaten the semis, then you're out, and it mitigates the whole season. Very interesting. Hey, briefly, guys, tomorrow we'll unwrap the 5-star AFC and NFC title picks, but I want to get your honest opinion, perspective. I think Tampa's going to lose, quite honestly. I think Green Bay is on a mission, and I think their quarterback is going to be the league MVP. I believe that they're going to have to come out throwing the ball. Conventional wisdom says Tampa should come out and run the ball. I think they need to throw the ball and expose that defense, the back end of that defense, and then bust them up with the run late in the game. But I want to get your perspective. And then I think that Kansas City is very vulnerable. Now, the one variable is I think Josh Allen does goofy things. I'm really a big fan of his, but he just does weird things that offsets his great play. I'm heavily rooting for the Bills this weekend, but I wanted to get your perspective, and I know you're probably saving your picks for tomorrow, but we'll unleash them tomorrow. Anyway, have a delightful day, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, see you. I think Kansas City, I don't know if vulnerable is the word, but beatable. How's that? I'm not ready to give you what I think on that game yet. I agree with him on Tampa Bay, JJ. I think Green Bay is going to win, and I think Tampa Bay does have to come out and throw the football. I think they do have to move it. I think they're going to have to score with Green Bay. I think Tommy's going to have to be actually really good. I think he's going to have to be better than he was last week. I don't know how well I think they're going to run the ball against Green Bay. It's going to be cold. It's going to be nasty. Tommy's won plenty of those games. Gronk has won plenty of those games. Let me see the rest of these Sunshine Boys, how they play. You got a lot of Florida boys on that team now. Let's see how these Sunshine Boys can play up in nasty Green Bay. This is what Aaron Rodgers has won. He's lost conference championship games, not a lot up in Lambeau Field. He doesn't get a lot up there. To me, this is Aaron Rodgers' day. This is his time. I saw something, whose legacy would be affected more by winning the Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? It's like, what? I mean, Aaron Rodgers has one. Him getting two puts him on another shelf. Tommy's sealed. Now, I will tell you this. It would add, if Tommy gets to a Super Bowl with this team, it would add immensely to his resume. Taking a second team there, playing it in their home stadium, which would be, I think, the first team to play in their home stadium, which would be somewhat ironic that it would be him and it be in Tampa. Don't get me wrong. Tommy can add to his legacy, but there is no taking from his legacy. So who's as affected more to me is Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers, like I told you, all season is on a scorched earth tour. I think they're better. I do. Not exponentially better. And I think Green Bay wins.
I agree with you on Green Bay being better overall. I'm actually, after seeing what happened last week in Tampa Bay and what they've done in the postseason, I'm not on board with Tommy coming out and throwing the football.
Yeah, but I think that's how they win.
Well, why are they 35 to 40 yards better at running football in the playoffs?
No, I understand
because
that.
It's been more effective. They have to run the football. If this game turns out to Tom Brady needing to go score to score with the Green Bay Packers, I don't think it turns out well for them, because I think just the Packers are a better defensive unit. Because I don't care what happened in regular season. None of that matters now in the postseason when Tampa Bay shredded the Green Bay Packers. They have to establish early, easy throws for Tom and then let him get into this game, because that's a formula that's worked for them in the postseason. Yeah, last week they didn't have to because New Orleans turned the football over. And I don't expect that to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Now, to his point on Josh Allen, show me that game he's been that guy this year.
He hasn't been.
That's not the Josh Allen this season. He's turned the football over 10 times in the air. So show me this year where we've had that crazy, funky Josh Allen doing terrible things.
Yeah, I agree with you on Josh Allen. And actually, I agree with you that Tampa Bay has run the football. I believe in this game, for them to win, he's just got to be better. He's got to throw the football. He's got to throw for 285 yards somewhere in there. They've got to be successful. I just don't think that they're going to be able to run the ball enough against that defense. To me, and I could be wrong, but I think they're going to have to score, and I don't think they score enough points just running the football and controlling the game. I don't. I think Green Bay puts up 28 to 35 points, even in those elements. I do, and I actually really like what Tampa Bay's been doing defensively. But I think Green Bay's going to score, and I just don't know that I think Tampa Bay can score with them if Tommy doesn't throw.
Oh, he's going to have to throw, but I believe a more balanced attack gives them a better chance in that game. If they don't run the football at all, and Tom Brady's
No, I didn't say that.
throwing it, I know, but I don't think they have to come out and go over the top. Like I think what's better for Tom Brady, as good as he's been, and we see him, he still has it. He's not being protected by anything, a scheme, etc. I think balance versus the Packers works better than we see teams trying to control the clock against, say, Kansas City when they're 100%.
Yeah, and so please, and if I wasn't clear, that's on me. I'm not saying throw 55 times. I'm saying throw more. Obviously, you got to run the football. You've got to run the football. But I think throw more than maybe they did last week. He had 199 yards. I just don't think they win if he has 199 yards.
Yeah, if he has 199 yards and the Packers don't turn the football over, it's a different game.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, you've got to be able to run the football. But I think there's got to be a little bit more Tommy in this. If Tommy's able to do it, then maybe we saw 505-246-0610. That's how to get to us. You can watch us on ProViewNetworks.com or on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM. Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com is going to be with us coming up at the bottom of the hour. I'll get you some of these emails that you're sending me because, well, you took the time to write them and you got some good takes, so I will get them to you, and you can get in on the phone call as well. Lobos and San Jose State today, both 0-8. Who gets off the schneid? It's the opening drive at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
New to the Wendy's 2 for $5.
Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Mike Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Duma Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did!
Oh my God! Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in.
Ramos to Gaxiola. High window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. It's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay, I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Step it up. Pavia now running around.
So I asked yesterday, why now? Why now? It was a time for change. Yesterday was a time for unity, for a time for change. New beginnings. Lobos are 0-8, but they get a new start today. San Jose State's 0-8, they get a new start today. So, JJ, I asked why now? I'm not angry about why now. In fact, I was kind of glad now. Why not earlier? I've asked that question. I'd be rebutted by our buddy John. John pretty much is straight line with the governor, which is fine. I've told you I respect what the governor's doing, trying to keep everybody safe. Said that many times. People only hear what they want to hear. This is the John who heard us screaming that day we were not screaming at all, JJ. I asked, why now? Is it because cases are going down because a vaccine is here? Okay, we're moving forward. I appreciate that. Is it because of Jeff Grammer's article that came out last week exposing the double standard, which I think a lot of people had deemed, and rightfully so in my opinion, unacceptable, that United were able to practice, go, and come freely and weren't under nearly the rigorous testing that our colleges were? I asked Eddie that question. JJ, did you see how I asked Eddie that question yesterday without asking him the question? Because I knew I didn't want to put him on that spot. But I asked him, has the governor's office been more receptive, more responsive, more willing to have these conversations in the last week? And he said yes, right?
And it is an interesting, because that's no different than what happened last year. That double standard was there last year. Mm-hmm. So why is it that this story last week caught everyone's attention?
So I first of all, when it happened last year, it wasn't a double standard. When it happened, it was the standard. Right? When it happened before Lobo athletics season started, it was the standard. It was happening. When did United season start? Like June? So there was no double standard on that. That's just the way it was at that point. Now, the double standard was United and you and me, right? Common folk. We couldn't come and go without quarantine, but they could. That was the double standard. But now, once global football couldn't do and it was literally, if you recall, it was literally the week of the opener for football where United's season ended, right? They went to El Paso, came back in quarantine, but New Mexico football wasn't allowed to go up to Fort Collins and play football and come back. And everybody started going, what the hell, right? What's the difference? Well, they're pro and they're not. And then I really believe in look, when you're the biggest newspaper in the state, and that's what the Journal is, and everybody reads them. I mean, we've been saying it for months, but Jeff, I thought, did a really nice job. And I know the copies of the paper land in the governor's office every day. And I know for a fact from a number of sources that people in the governor's office were really upset at that story. But they heard it, and it resonated. And they saw the outpouring of emotion. Jeff's story really started this let them play piece from the high school part. And now people are going, oh, damn, that ain't right. So whatever, if you think that's part of it or not, but I asked Eddie if there's been more of a response in the last week. He said yes. That's all. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it is interesting because that's something that we've all addressed over the last few months, but it was, I guess, for some an eye-opening moment last week.
Right. All right, so John says, why now, Jeff? I could not write before the end of the show, but I wanted to answer your question of why now. The answer is quite simple, and that is now is the time that the governor's team of field experts and doctors who are advising her on what should be done have said it's the right time. They said so. This isn't just some arbitrary decisions she's making on whims on her own. She is consulting field experts and looking at best practices and deciding what is best. If you look at the numbers for the past week, they show a trend in the right direction. They helped a lot, I'm sure. The fact that UNM is not in person for the spring semester makes a difference, I'm sure. Is this the right time because the team that is making the decisions based on the evidence has determined it's the right time? No other reason, and by far the right decision. I also agree with no games, maybe not at all this winter. It introduces more variables into a volatile situation. There's no need for it. If the numbers get better and those places where out-of-state teams are coming from meet our green standards for the amount of time they have to meet our green standards, and let's revisit it. But until then, the governor, as she has the whole time, is making the right decision after right decision. I do believe there will be high school sports in the spring. They may not start until April, but I think they will happen, provided the improvement continues and the vaccine starts making an impact in the next 45 to 60 days. Have a good day from John. Are all these universities completely online? First of all, I don't think UNM is completely online. Is Highlands, Western, Eastern, New Mexico State, are they all online too? This is a straight UNM decision. And
I don't know what that is, those other ones.
And we've trended down for a week before. Now, I hope this trend continues. I think we all do. But a one-week trend, we've trended down before. In fact, all spring and most of the summer, didn't we? We had decent numbers, if I recall correctly. But I appreciate it. Look, John, I'm not going to yell at you. I don't yell. And I respect your opinion if you believe the governor has made right decision after right decision. I don't think every decision she made is right. You obviously do, and I respect that. Hopefully you can respect where we're coming from. JJ, I mean, I don't think you think every decision she's made is right.
No, I think it's one where there's going to be different decisions for different people in this time. Like, as we've talked about sports coming back in whatever fashion it may be, whether it's just practice or playing games in an empty arena, it's a scenario that doesn't equate to someone else's daily life and the challenges with everything that is going on and what's needed to be done. The one part where it doesn't make sense is, okay, you're going to allow them to practice, leave to go play a game, and then come back, but say it's not safe for another team to come here and play in an empty arena.
Who, by the way, are doing the same exact thing you're doing. And then Jack got in on the science. So science says it's safe to have 500 people on the concourse of University Arena administering and receiving shots, but on Bob King Court below, it's a super spreader if you have a group of 5 guys playing or 10 guys playing. What a bunch of bleep. That's from Jack. All right. All right. 505-246-0610. We'll talk with Jerry Palm coming up next, and then we can get back into that if you want. We'll get into UNM and San Jose State tonight. Guys, how's the new year started? Hope you're feeling well. If not, if you're feeling sluggish, if you're dealing with fatigue, low energy, low T, erectile dysfunction, you can take care of all that stuff by calling NewMail and feel like you again. NewMail is the leader in men's health. They're here in Albuquerque, and they've helped thousands of men all over the country feel better. And right now, fellas, what's more important than your health, especially now? Taking care of you and feeling well is a priority, and NewMail makes it possible. You can call them at 505-652-1688. That's 505-652-1688, or visit NewMail. That's NUMALE.com. Process is comfortable from the phone call all the way through your first visit, the treatment, and the results are absolutely real. NewMail's right there with you the whole way. They help you take care of low energy, even hair loss or erectile dysfunction. Testosterone replacement utilizes the cutting-edge technology. They're out front of this when it comes to men's health. 505-652-1688. That's 505-652-1688, or visit NewMail.com. You will feel better.
We are the University of New Mexico Lobo. Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's a long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Cropper.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. But here comes Las Cruces. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Oh, Morgan will. That ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Forward dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris with Gates. The long bomb, 3-ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. And sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. David Bond back. LAU. Put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
Here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away.
Hey, for you over on News Radio KKOB. Oh, you got the pillow fight of the week on the national side. But, you know, you care. Because, you know, as I've been telling you, yesterday marks a new beginning, a new start. And for 0-8 New Mexico and 0-8 San Jose State, those are league records. Somebody gets a new start today. They'll play at 1 o'clock over on News Radio KKOB. Robert and Hunter will take the mic for the pregame show at 12:30 from St. George, Utah. They'll play at Dixie State. And then they get 2 of those, and somebody's going to walk away with a win. Opening drive, Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. Back to your calls coming up in a little bit. It is that time of week where we welcome our good friend who you read regularly over on CBSSports.com on his new iPhone 12. Jerry Palm joins us on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Jerry.
Hey, how's it going?
You all into that big New Mexico San Jose State game today?
I won't get to watch it, but it'll be nice to see somebody walk, get a W for the first time.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I know it's been a grind for both of those schools. New Mexico State was played once?
Well, 3 times, I think. Yeah.
Oh, is it up to 3 now? It's been a real challenge for all 3 of those schools. The teams have been away from home. I think I just saw New Mexico and New Mexico State can at least go home to practice now.
Yep.
But still can't play home games. So it's a very nomadic existence. The football teams had the same deal. New Mexico and San Jose.
San Jose State towards the end.
They had to be away from home a lot, but they did pretty well with it, especially San Jose. But basketball teams are really struggling.
Well, New Mexico's women's team is 5-1 under the same situation. So it's sometimes you're either a good team or you're not. I think that's a big part of it too. You've got 4 teams out of the Mountain West in your bracket right now, and I understand it's early. That's a big deal for the Mountain West if that holds. San Diego State's got 3 losses in league, twice to Utah State. They're playing without Matt Mitchell, and then that 26-point collapse at home to Colorado State. Do you think that holds for the Mountain West?
We'll see. As they get through the league, those teams will be playing each other some more. I would assume that Utah State, San Diego State are done until the conference tournament. But if they can just, if they're in a situation where they only lose to each other, then maybe it can hold. It'll depend, of course, always on what other teams do. And if I'm not mistaken, all 4 of those teams are in my bracket as double-digit seeds, although it's possible Boise's in an 8-9 game.
So Boise State's coach Leon Rice has been saying that the league needs to protect their teams. This being a COVID year, they shouldn't bring all 11 teams to Vegas. That maybe readjust, not even inviting all 11 teams in the league to the conference tournament. And this is a year where you got to think out of the box and protect them. I remember the Conference USA started doing weighted schedules a couple of years ago to protect their top teams. Does that help? Is that a good idea that he's pitching?
Yeah. Well, the Conference USA thing was a bad idea. Was never going to do what they intended it to do, and obviously they're not doing it this year because COVID. Nobody's doing anything normal. But protecting the top teams, yeah, sure. I wouldn't do what the Conference USA is doing with the end of their regular season schedule, but I could see either you arrange it so that the top teams aren't playing early rounds in the conference tournament. You stagger it like the West Coast Conference does. Or you just invite fewer teams to protect the top teams from taking what would be a really bad loss.
JJ suggested maybe the best way to select your conference champions, and I think he's right in regards to conference tournament doesn't always get your best team in, but I just don't see how they're putting that genie back in the bottle. I think they're drunk on that money that conference tournaments bring, and I just don't see it ever going back.
I don't either. You may see a couple of leagues do away with it this year, but they're not going to be leagues like the Mountain West. They'll be smaller conferences. Some have not even decided yet. In fact, the Atlantic Sun just this week decided what they were going to do for their conference tournament. They are going to have one, but it'll be different than it's been in the past. The America East has not decided yet whether or not to have a conference tournament. I don't think the Patriot has either. So you may see some leagues like that forego it, but I can't imagine the Mountain West not having it at all unless COVID gets to a point where it's prevented. I expect it to start to get slightly better, though, COVID.
Well, Jerry, it's not just the season. As Jeff said, sometimes teams are just not so good, and we're seeing it with two marquee programs right now, Kentucky and Duke. What does the rest of the season look like for each squad?
Well, Duke is at least a game above 500, so, there's some hope for them. The ACC isn't as daunting as it has been in the past. There's some good teams at the top, Virginia Tech and Virginia and Clemson prior to the two games they just played where they got drilled coming off a COVID break of their own. It's funny because, teams that have had COVID breaks, you've had differing results. And Clemson is a case of an extremely poor bounce out of a break. And you've had some teams do very well coming out of a break. So, but Duke has still got some hope. Kentucky's sitting at 4-9 after the loss to Georgia last night. And they've got, I believe, 17 games left. So, 30 games, you're talking about 17-13. They can only afford to lose 4 more times to be 4 games above 500 entering the SEC tournament. Now, maybe you don't have to be 4 games above 500 this year to make the tournament like you usually do. Not that that's a criteria, it's more historic criteria than actual criteria. Right. But with fewer games being played this year, maybe 3 games or even 2 games with a strong enough schedule above 500 might be good enough to get in.
Jerry, who's the best team that no one is talking about at this point in time? If everyone just hears Gonzaga, Baylor, who's the squad that people need to know about right now?
Gosh, does Michigan qualify?
Michigan's nice.
They were not expected to compete at the top of the league. They're a number 1 seed in my bracket. They got beat by Minnesota this week, or maybe it was the end of last week. They have been waylaying people in the Big Ten, in the best league in the nation. Michigan has taken it to almost everybody. In fact, they took it to Minnesota, and then Minnesota gave it back last week. But they have been outstanding. They've got a great freshman center, Hunter Dickinson, and a veteran team around him. A lot of guys that can hurt you in different ways, and a very good defensive team. And boy, they're going to be tough. And they're at Mackey Arena to play Purdue tomorrow night. And Purdue's hot. They've won 4 in a row, but that's a team with no seniors. So, and they won't have their usual home crowd. So it'll be interesting to see, what comes of that game. But Michigan has been just lights out so far in conference play.
What if I answered that with Alabama? Would that qualify? Alabama
sure.
looks nice.
Yeah, that's another good answer. Alabama's at the top of the SEC now, I think, with Tennessee losing the other day. So they've been terrific. But they hit 23 three-pointers against LSU.
Stupid.
Scored 105 points. It means they probably got like an 0 for 15 coming. But that was, they're playing terrific basketball. And, them and Tennessee are both top 10 level teams in the SEC, despite Tennessee getting drilled by Florida the other day. But Alabama's been fantastic.
Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com is with us. Hey, you mentioned Tennessee. AD and coach. Philip Fulmer retires. Their football coach is out. Did he get fired? Did he resign?
No, he got fired.
Well, yeah.
Fired for cause.
Is it with cause, and that whole thing's going to be settled? That's a mess. There's a lot of names up for the job. I see the AD at UAB, Eddie Nunez here at New Mexico's been mentioned. what do you do there? Because that feels like, yeah, they got resources, they got fans, and they got a lot of stuff, but that feels like a freaking gong show right now.
Yeah, it is. I am looking forward to another hilariously dysfunctional coaching search on top of an AD search, and watching it from a safe distance. It's God, what a mess. You know, it's funny. A friend of mine who covers Penn State, but writes for national stuff, was pointing out that the two wealthiest programs that can't seem to get their football house in order are both UT, Texas and Tennessee. Texas, of course, and now on another coach, Steve Sarkisian, but Tennessee they're a mess, and their fan base interferes and has unrealistic expectations. So I don't know what you do, but if you go into that place as an AD, you got to lay down the law with the fan base. Say, look, I'm running this program, not you guys. You feel free to say what you want, feel free to donate or don't, but we're going to do what we need to do, and you guys don't have a say. So pipe down.
It sounds so easy.
Out of control.
Yeah, it sounds so easy. There's another paradigm shift in the Pac-12, and with Larry Scott out now, and there's been rumblings of this for a long time. Larry's been there for 11 years. He's a different guy. He's not. His background was in college athletics. He's a different guy. Tried to take that league to a different place, and I'm not sure this is the place that they envisioned. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That didn't work. He was out of touch. I mean, the fact that he had no college sports experience was apparent, and it didn't help. But he just had no clue what to do. He was tone deaf in a lot of ways. The league is not better off after his 11 years there. They're worse. They're almost irrelevant in football, which is a huge problem, and the next commissioner is going to have to address immediately. There are some good candidates out there. The West Coast Conference Commissioner, Gloria Nevarez, was in the Pac-12 for 10 years before taking that job. She'd be really good. Bernard Muir, current Stanford AD, would also be a really good choice. I'm sure there's others, but they need to. The next hire has to be a home run because they got a lot of work to do and they got a lot of holes to plug in a sinking ship.
And there's a lot of money and a lot of population out there, and so you would think there's a ton of potential for them to get back to where.
I mean, it's not an unsolvable problem, but they're falling back from the rest of the Power Five. Now, they can get back relatively quickly, but they need somebody to come in ready to run on day one and get things going.
Jerry, the NCAA tournament, everything is going to take place in Indiana this year. The dates were announced. Is there anything that jumps out to you, even little changes that people need to look forward to or be aware of?
Well, the first four games are going to be played on Thursday. So the tournament is going to be 2 days shorter. They're still going to end on the originally scheduled day, first Monday of April. But they're going to start with the first four games on Thursday, and those will be at Purdue and IU. And then there'll be first-round games also at Purdue and IU involving the winners of those games, those pods that those teams are in. But then everything else gets played in Indianapolis. Lucas Oil Stadium will host the Elite Eight forward, so not just the Final Four, but also the Elite Eight games. Hinkle Fieldhouse, where Butler plays, will be a regional. Bankers Life, where the Pacers play, will be a regional. There'll be some first and second round games where at the Indiana State Fairgrounds Coliseum where IUPUI plays. So logistically, it should be a pretty easy thing to do. But the most noticeable thing is that games will be played on different days than we're used to seeing, and it's going to be 2 days later as a start date.
You're muted, Jeff.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Addie's eating cereal. I was trying to stop the clinking. Hey, easy answer would be American, but I think it takes a little more thought. This year, better basketball league, Mountain West or the American?
It does take some more thought. The best team is Houston.
It's Houston,
of that
okay.
group.
But the top four in the Mountain West are pretty good.
I think the Mountain West will put more teams in the tournament. But I would say top to bottom, it's probably still the American. and the team with the best chance to advance is in the American. But it's closer than it's been in a while.
Okay, fair enough. All right, enjoy the weekend. Always appreciate catching up with you. JP Palm CBS, right? Is the at JP Palm CBS or underscore JP Palm? No, at JP Palm CBS. I screw up your Twitter handle every time.
That's okay. It's only been a dozen years. I'm
yeah,
sure
that's
we'll
all.
get it figured out.
We've been doing this for a minute or two. Yeah, follow him on the Twitter. It's a great Twitter. Read him on CBSSports.com. Catch you next week. You sound great on that new iPhone 12, man. Sounds wonderful.
All right. Thanks.
Be well.
I'll talk to you then.
Be well. Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com. Why can't I get that? It's an easy Twitter handle. It's at JP Palm CBS. What's the issue?
It's a little. Mine has an underscore in it, and then it's my name. His is kind of his name, like half his name, and then it's CBS. Letters.
Yeah. All right. Take a break. You can respond to what Jerry had to say. I want to have that conversation. American versus Mountain West. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
These may be uncertain times, but what is certain is that every family needs a reliable thermometer.
Dorian over. Did he get
Yeah,
in?
they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Portell.
Davis in a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown.
So Davison back to toss, and he's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he
touchdown.
could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win in his back, but
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas.
Teams right now, he's got Colorado State and Boise State, San Diego State and Utah State, bunch of states. He still thinks the American better top to bottom. I think he's right on the best team on Houston. I give him that. And what the American doesn't have is a New Mexico and San Jose State sitting at 0-8. So you can make the argument top 4 versus top 4, Mountain West is better. Might even be able to go 5 or 6 deep if you want to go into Nevada. But the bottom is hurting. And, boy, I can't even believe we're saying this around here about New Mexico, but New Mexico is the bottom. And New Mexico is a – this is the year where the Aggies are saying, I mean, I don't want to play the – I'm glad we don't play the Lobos because they're dragging down our net ranking, right? That would be if the Aggies could play a game. I mean, how brutal is it? Like in a basketball state, honestly, one team can't get on the floor and the other one can't get a win.
It is rough, but I think most of us were anticipating a rough year, not to this extent.
I don't think that's right.
Not to 0-8. But not getting on the floor is not surprising with everything that's going on and the issues of if you get the virus, you get the virus, and then it starts jumping around.
Yeah, the Aggies have had it as bad as anybody, so I don't think there's any way to anticipate you're going to play. They've played 3 games by now. One would be Benedictine of Arizona, and the other one was, Arizona Christian, and they played one Division I game against CSUN. Like, I don't think anybody saw that. And as even the most pessimistic Lobo fan did not anticipate getting beat by 24 points a game and being 0-8 to start conference play. No way. Someone is, we'll be 4-4. Yeah, we'll be struggling. We got a young team. No. They get San Jose State today, 1 o'clock over on News Radio KKOB. Lobo Hobo says Jerry Palmer sounds a lot better. It almost sounds like he's talking into a real phone. Yeah, it almost does. John said on the Lobos, were the men's basketball team, were they able to practice at home this week? If not, being it's only the last couple of days when they could, what do you think we should be able to see an improvement besides maybe being mentally fresher? What avenue is available to watch today's game? If you want to watch it, it's the Mountain West Network. JJ, the easiest way, right? Just go to the MW.com and follow the prompts, Mountain West TV. I mean, it's right there. It's free. It's a decent stream.
Yes.
Right? We had this conversation the first hour, and I'm happy to do it again. I don't know what's better, other than the mental piece. And if nothing else, so John, to your point, no, they did not practice at home. They were in St. George. This came down 2 days ago. There was no reason to bus them here and there because that's where they're playing their game. So they'll come back after this 2-game series, and then they'll go to Fresno. But to me, the mental piece should help them. San Jose State's coming in from Arizona where they're doing their little vagabond existence. For UNM to know that, all right, after this, we actually do get to go home. I think there's got to be a mental refresher to this. I will, and just after listening to everything Paul said after the first loss to Utah State and talking about the fatigue of being on the road, does that give you an extra bounce in your step? Does that make you better on the basketball court? I don't know that it does or not, but I got to believe mentally that it helps him. Does that make him make a jump shot? I don't know, man. I don't know if that makes him get an extra rebound or make, JJ, you talk about this all the time. Is all these X factors, all these off-court factors, are going to help somebody make a tackle or catch a football at the end? Is it going to help him make a jump shot? I don't know. But I got to believe they're just above the shoulders in a better place.
I'm not expecting bad energy or effort today. I think whatever happens in the game I'm expecting them to play like they did last time out against UNLV. And that was really hard. That was show some good things defensively. So make it a long day on San Jose State, because the Lobos know themselves that it's going to be a long day for them to just try to score. Now, San Jose State could open things up because they bring in the worst defense in the Mountain West. And so maybe that helps them get some open looks, get to the basket, win inside some more, and then build the confidence, potentially carry over to hitting a couple jump shots. But I'm not expecting a game in which we see bad effort. We don't see the guys come out with energy, because both these teams woke up this morning. You said it, Jeff. Is there like, today's our day? This is our time. We have a chance to go home with a W. And so I expect both teams to play hard, but I do think the Lobos have shown enough when it comes to just the length, the effort to make it a long day on San Jose State. Whether it's 1 point, 4 points, 5 points, W is what they need today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to listen to tomorrow morning. Well, they only won by X. Like, really? Because the alternative is losing by X right now. And if you don't know who they are and what they are, then you haven't been watching. That team on the other side that's 0-8, just like you. It's insanity to me. Just because I've been doing this for a quarter of a century now, following Lobo basketball. JJ, that Lobo basketball is the bottom of the league. Like, it's insanity that you've got another coach and reading articles out of other towns going, yeah, and you've got San Jose State and New Mexico who are dragging this thing down, and they shouldn't even be going to the conference tournament. Like, the whole concept that's what I'm registering in my head after covering Lobo basketball for this long. I get it, man. We're living in COVIDia, but it's insanity. I mean, don't you feel the same way? That we're having this conversation about Lobo basketball's dragging down the league?
Yes.
That's where we are. 2 0-8 teams today. You get to listen to them this afternoon. Somebody's getting off the schneid. Somebody's going to feel good, and somebody's going to feel really not good. I mean, that's the reality. If 2 0-8 teams go in and one's going to feel good, but the reality is the other side. That's not going to be a fun existence either. 505-246-0610. I got a bunch of your emails at jeff@610knml.com I'll get to. Want your thoughts, the Lobos and San Jose State on the opening drive on ProView Networks and 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
I'm Steve Weisman with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The NFL's final.
Played over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
Over this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win. And he got it! And it's good. Oh my God! On the last second shot.
He did.
Oh my God! Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in.
Bravo to Gaxiola. High window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlings, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Still out on Patrick Mahomes. Will he play this weekend for the Chiefs? He, quote unquote, looked good in walkthroughs and practice the other day. Patrick Mahomes is going to play, right? I mean, he's going to be cleared. He's going to play. Like, it's cute and all that, oh, maybe he won't, maybe he won't. Like, he's clearing protocol, right?
Yes.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to play.
He's going to be playing this game. How effective he's going to be. Is an 80% Patrick Mahomes still better than 90% of the league? Yes, but I just might be circling the wagons this weekend.
Boy, Buffalo Bills, this is a shot for them and their young team. And it's hard to repeat, man. Really, really, really hard to repeat. And a banged-up Patrick Mahomes might be what prevents it. We'll see. It's the opening drive. Happy Thursday to you. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. Micah produces on the radio side. Alden and Jay Pole back at ProView Networks, giving you the pictures on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM, and on YouTube, ProView Network channel. All right, J.J., the worst, what is the worst rule in football? There's a bunch of them, people say, but what was the conversation coming out of last weekend? The worst rule in football. It's got to be changed.
Fumbling through the end zone.
And I don't think it is. And I've told you for years I don't think it is. My whole thing was, what else are you going to do, man? You don't just give them the ball back. It's a risk-reward play. If you're going to reach out for the end zone or you fumble through the end zone, it's a touchback. It's what it should be. It's what it is. And I just don't think, until it happens to my team, I don't think it's a horrible rule. Jay Busby of Yahoo Sports wrote a column. Have you seen his column on this? And I think it's got some great points in it. And he says, first of all, it's okay to admit you're wrong. Like he says, I've been on this for years. It's the worst rule in football, but I've listened to a lot of things, and he's come around to where I am, which is certainly in the minority on this, where it's the right rule. It's the right call. It's the right way to call that rule. He says, I'll give you a couple of things. He says it comes back to the core objective of the game, back to the 1870s. Defend the goal. Do not allow the offense to penetrate the goal with the ball. Well, whatever else is going on when a player fumbles the ball forward, we can agree on this. The offense did not penetrate the goal with the ball. So, and this goes with you. You're right. It should not be a touchdown, and it should not be rewarded right there, right? So you're probably on board with that. Then he said there's something known as the impetus rule, which is the you break it, you bought it of the NFL rules. In other words, if the offense burps up the ball into the end zone, it's the responsibility of the offense, not the referees, not the rule book, and certainly not the defense, to get the ball back under control. If the offense can't do it, too bad, too sad. Okay. He says a live ball in the end zone, JJ, has 3 possible fates: a touchdown, a touchback, or a safety. That's it. Unless we add this fate to it. Obviously, a ball going forward into the opponent's end zone would not be a safety. And there's no reason whatsoever to grant a touchdown to someone fumbling the ball into the end zone. So what's left? Exactly. There's no exceptions for fumbles and no need for them. And literally, and this is the last one, and this is where, like he got me even more. Not that I needed to be gotten. He says literally every other rule favors the offense. The defense needs a break too. Plus, the rules don't make exceptions for offensive arrogance or stupidity. Extending the ball with one hand to go for the heroic touchdown is a classic risk-reward. I'm with him 100%. Like the quarterback who takes – Tommy does this or Breeze does this. Quick snap, jump, lift it over to break the goal line, right? If it gets knocked out before, like it's everything rewards the offense. To me, the only other solution that I even listen to is you suggest to take it back to the 20. To me, keep down in distance and it's at the 20. But I get it. This is a harsh penalty. This is a game changer. This is a like, oh my goodness, how can that happen? But it's risk reward, man. To me, it's the right rule. I don't think this needs to be changed.
I'm right there with you. I don't hear enough from the other side. Everyone hates the rule
when it happens to them.
When it happens, and it's a top 10 sports Twitter blow up moment when that occurs. When an offensive player fumbles a football through the end zone. Well, he fumbled the football, or a defender forced him to lose possession of said football. So you shouldn't get it back at the spot you fumbled because there was no clear recovery. No. All right, you put it back to the 20, maybe I'm listening, but ultimately you lost possession, and what should happen is a touchback. And it is one of the few things, and there's very few of these left in football, that is advantage to the defense. And you said it right. It is risk reward when lunging that football out, because all you have to do is simply break the plane with control, and it's a touchdown.
That's right.
That's it. You don't have to complete the process of a run. You don't have to reach the football out, go to the ground, still holding on to it. The instant that you cross it with possession, it's a touchdown. So there's plenty of reward. So the one moment that you don't get there and you fumble it through the end zone, you should be penalized. And I am on board with it being a touchback, loss of possession going to the other team, because I also have not seen a good enough explanation of why it shouldn't be, other than people just don't like the rule.
Other than it's harsh. Other than it's harsh. I mean, they're ready to go in, and it's yeah, it sucks, and it's a risk-reward deal. It's harsh. Yes. Football. No, you and I are lock stock on this. I lose my mind internally, but I never get involved in this. It amuses me beyond reproach to watch people go bonkers on social media whenever this happens. That's the rule, and it's, to me, 100% right interpretation, application, and construction of a rule. You fumble a ball through the end zone, the other guys get at the 20, man. It's a touchback. That's how, like you don't get rewarded. You don't get rewarded for reaching out, coughing it up. All right, we'll get another shot back we'll put it at the 20 and we'll kick a field goal. No, you don't get rewarded for that. You coughed it up through the field of play. It went out of bounds, out of the boundaries. There's rules that need to be changed. Yeah,
like
in and through.
The end zone. We get it in other parts of the field. You fumble out of bounds at the 37, no one gets it. All right, you retain possession. This is the end zone. You should not be rewarded for that football going forward without possession. The other spots of the field, to get it. It makes sense. When it comes to that area, you best hold on to the football.
Yeah, that's the risk, man. That's the risk. Ray, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. What's happening, Ray?
Just dropped.
Ray just dropped. That's what's happening. All right, 505-246-0610 is where Ray was. You can be there as well. Got email. I'd love your thoughts on that. Because, JJ, I do believe you and I are in the minority on this, right?
Probably. When you look at the reaction that occurred when Rashard Higgins fumbled that football, it was like 20 tweets in a row. It was like, oh no, worst rule in sports.
No,
Here
it's
it is
not.
again, worst rule in sports. I'm like, well, why? Just because it's harsh? Because it penalizes a team for a mistake? Like, give me the alternative. We have the reasons. You just ran down another story making a lot of good points about why, even if it being a harsh rule, it works. Favors the defense for once in this game.
Yep. I don't know. Do I reward Ray for fumbling through the end zone? I mean, his call dropped. He just fumbled. Do I reward him and put him on the air? What's up, Ray? How you living?
How's it going, guys?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I'm a Raider fan, so Derek Carr's done that 3 times, so I know what it is 3 years in a row. But the only thing I don't like is if an offensive guy fumbles the ball on the field of play and it fumbles 10, 15 yards up and the offense recovers it, they take it back to the spot where it was originally fumbled.
I believe they only do that in the last 2 minutes.
If you're fumbling the ball in the end zone, and say you fumble the ball right there, you reached out for the pylon, you have it crossed, and it's a fumble, and if it goes through the end zone, even if the ball goes out of bounds on a 10-yard play, they put it back to where you originally fumbled.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would like to see maybe for the end zone. If it goes back, you would put it back to the 1-yard line, but I don't think that's the worst rule. I think the worst rule is pass interference, especially when you got a team that's third down and 30 yards, and they throw it behind the receiver 30, 40 yards down the field, and the referee throws a flag for pass interference. They give them the ball right there. They're bailing them out. I think it should be like college 15-yard penalty regardless, no matter what.
That's a really good conversation. Thank you, Ray. Should pass interference be a spot foul on those long passes, JJ, or should it be a 15-yard penalty? It's long been a conversation, and I'll listen to that conversation because I think it's a real one. And by the way, you know who Ray can blame or thank for that rule in regards to you can't advance the fumble? The Raiders. That's the holy roller play. That's back in the day, Dave Casper against the San Diego Chargers, where they fumbled and kicked it and patted it into the end zone and fell on the ball in the end zone. And the Raiders beat the Chargers one day on what they call the holy roller. Casper fumbled, and they kind of patted the ball, kicked it, and fell on it in the end zone and won the football game. Oh, they recovered the fumble there, and they changed the rule because of that.
Well, you're right. It's under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Where if it's fumbled forward, the only person that can get it and regain the yards and or score is the fumbler.
Yeah. I'll fumble for you. Sorry. All right, back to the phones when we get back. 505-246-0610. You might see their vehicles around town. They got the initials IPS all over them. Do you know who they are? International Protective Service, and that's the security company I trust to watch my home. The police are wonderful. There's just simply not enough officers to respond quickly to all the break-ins that are going off around the city, and when your alarm goes off, they can't get there in time. What good's an alarm if no one responds? IPS responds typically within 5 to 7 minutes, often less. Hundreds of homeowners and business owners in Albuquerque and Santa Fe rely on IPS to protect their property. I'm one of them. If you got a vacation coming up, IPS can patrol your home while you're away. They'll move the trash cans to the curb and back on garbage day, pick up the newspapers, the mail. Just give your home that lived-in look. Call them at 897-2420. That's 505-897-2420. You can go to ipsglobal.com. Those vehicles you see in your neighborhood, that means someone on your street refuses to be a victim of property crime. Don't wait until something bad happens. Let IPS secure what's valuable to you. Call them at 505-897-2420.
The NFL playoffs are here.
Conference championship Sunday at
Played over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
score with his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it.
They're really...
Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win. And he got it! It's good. Oh my God! On the last second shot. He did. Oh my God! Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in.
Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
They're going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles, look out! Chavez up the sideline, stays in bounds, touchdown! Volcanovic!
That replay,
I
just
got
get
you.
the measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
Run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone. Art.
Everybody woke up. It's a new beginning. A new era, a new start today. San Jose State's 0-8 in league play. New Mexico's 0-8 in league play. They get to play each other today. 1 o'clock over on News Radio KKLB. Is this the day Lobos break that 8-game losing streak in conference play? I know Lobo fans are saying it freaking better be. 505-246-0610. Jeffrey, thanks for holding. You're a longtime Lobo fan. Is this the day? What's happening?
To be honest, I've lost interest in Lobo basketball. I can't believe I'm actually saying that out loud, but I'm just indifferent to it. They're irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I wish them well, but I just don't see Coach Weir resurrecting the team to any sense of any consequence. But anyway, the reason I called is the question you guys posed about football and the frustrating, I guess you'd say, rule that I experienced when I watched the game. In law, and I'm trying to remember my law, I have a little bit of a background there. It's in law and civil cases, you have this thing called preponderance standard, which assumes, it makes certain assumptions. Think of a criminal case where you have to have beyond a reasonable doubt. You know, when you go back to the review, quote unquote, you have to have incontrovertible evidence. That's the standard of a criminal case law. But in preponderant or civil case, you can make certain assumptions. So the rule that frustrates me the most is, in your previous call to use football nomenclature, intercepted my thought, is the pass interference call. To his point, you make the quarterback throws the ball down the field 43 yards. What happens is the rule assumes the accuracy of the throw, and it assumes the catch. Mm-hmm. And for those two reasons, I think it hyperbolically rewards the offense a little bit too much. And I think college has it a little bit more accurate in that I think it provides a 15-yard, reward.
Max.
And
it's a spot foul inside of 15. Yeah, spot foul inside of 15 and max 15.
Yeah. What I would do is, not to make it too complex, but if the throw is beyond, let's say, 20 yards, you give them half of that and then a first down or something to that effect. But I think it makes two what I call preponderant standard assumptions. It assumes the accuracy of the throw and it assumes the catch. Because think about it, if you're making a throw down the field 35 yards, I mean, even if the person isn't interfered with, you can't assume that throw would have been accurate and that person is going to make the catch even if the person wasn't interfered. But the rule makes both of those terrific assumptions. Yeah. So that's the rule that really frustrates me the most, because it takes place 3 or 4 times every game, where that other rule you talked about where, the ball is placed on the 20 to the other team, that doesn't happen that often. Maybe 10 times a year, perhaps, maybe more. But the pass interference call happens as a matter of course in every game.
Fair enough. I like that. Thank you, Jeffrey.
All right, thanks.
I don't disagree with him. I think the pass interference rule, I think college has it better than the pros. I like a spot foul inside of 15 to 15-yard max. Because giving them 40-yard penalties, 50-yard penalties, because you threw it down there. And now, here's the other side of that. Here's the counter to that. Well, if there is no fear of a spot foul and giving a guy a 40-yard penalty, if a defensive back is beat, he will interfere. He will grab, he will hold, he will interfere on that play. And I also will listen to that argument as well. I understand why the rule is the way it is. This one's imperfect. I still would probably lean towards the max 15, but I understand why it is so penal.
I would be worried if we saw that a lot more in college football, but we don't necessarily see that. Like, it's not something that every week people are just tackling dudes so they don't get beat. Does it happen occasionally? Sure. And maybe would it happen more for DB coaches like, hey, you're getting beat, just take the dude down, it's only 15 yards. But I don't think it's to the extent where it would hurt the NFL game if they changed towards the college rule when it comes to pass interference.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because this is the pass interference rule has always been one for me where I just, God, it's always felt so penal. And they call it so often. Now, I will give them this. I saw more, and I'd like to see the stats on it, JJ. I saw more offensive pass interferences this year than I've seen in a long time, which I actually appreciated. Because I've always felt the offensive player gets away with so much pushing and so much contact. I think I saw more plays just let play this year than probably have in the past. So to me, pass interference is football's equivalent of the block charge.
JT on the line.
You know what I'm saying? It's just such a hard call. You know, the block charge, bang, bang, you got to make a call. Is it a block or a charge? It's a bang, bang call. You got, and so often I see the flag flying in from out of my screen from 40 yards across the field, and a guy way over there called it. I'd like to see it called in a different way, but it feels like they're trying to get progress on this. JT, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. How you doing, JT?
My guys, what's going on? I know you're up against it, so yes, the Lobos are going to win tonight. It's a new beginning. They are going to win. They are going to win. Guaranteed. It's very rare that I agree with any of these other callers, but that rule just bugs the living, you know what, the professional, pass interference. I just cannot stand it. I love the way this last caller explained it. You can't assume that these guys are going to catch the ball. I mean, it's the stupidest rule ever. It's 15 yards and that's it. So. How many times, Jeff, there's a receiver running 10 yards ahead of a defender, and the ball is right in his hands, and guess what? This the other day in the playoffs.
Or it's overthrown.
What was that one that missed? It went right through his hands. Oh, for the Bears.
It was in the Bears game, yeah.
It went right through his hands.
No doubt.
It's the stupidest rule. It bugs me. Change the rule. I'm going to get it changed. Okay?
Work on that, JT. Let me know how that goes. All right, see you. I err with JT. I'm on his side. All right, I got emails on Lobo basketball.
Jay on the line.
We'll get to Jay when we get back. 505-246-0610 is how to get at us. Emails, Jeff or JJ at 610knml.com. Watch the show. It's ProView Networks produces it over on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM. Glad you're with us on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM at AM 610, the sports animal.
Introducing Project.
Let's throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up. Man's wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Siembieda. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on aim. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, get it! Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it.
and stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Dalion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Book for you. Pass interference and fumbling through the end zone. David says the ball should go back to the original line of scrimmage, lost it down. 99% of the time, the offense or the defense did nothing to cause the fumble. I totally disagree with that. They should not be rewarded. Actually, they're still rewarded with the ball going back to the line of scrimmage and the offense losing the down. So he says that the 20 goes back to the line of scrimmage. I would tell you the 20 or the original line of scrimmage, whichever is more penal, if you're going to go that way. So if it was a 40-yard play, it goes back to the 40. But I just, to tell me that 99% of the time the defense did nothing to cause a fumble, I mean, what these guys just diving by themselves and nobody's there and the defense didn't do it? I call absolute BS on that.
Yeah, it's more like 73% of the time. I don't know who he's getting 99% from.
When does the defense do nothing to cause that?
More times than not, there's contact, right, at where someone dives for the pylon.
There was the other day. Oh, but it was helmet to helmet, Jeff. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation. Jay, good morning. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
It's hard to officiate professional athletes in real time, full speed.
Yeah, you're sitting on your couch with a beer in your hand and your shorts and
how
watching.
many replays do we get?
Yeah, watching 18 angles of frame-by-frame replay, and you're like, how the hell could he miss that? And you want him to do it full speed, bang, bang, sitting right there. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Yes. Good morning, Jay. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hello, Jay. Hello? Yep. What's up?
I just want to talk to Jeff and JJ.
Yeah, you're on the air, bro.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
Oh, you guys are on the air already?
Yeah, you're on the air, Jay. It's good radio.
Hey, JJ and Jeff.
Hey, what's up?
What on, guys? Are you guys still talking about that rule?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I can't even hear this guy.
Did he just hang up on us?
We just got hung up on.
Yeah, I can't even hear this guy. How come it works for everybody else but that guy?
Okay, Jay on the other line. I clicked the other line.
Oh, dude. So this is Jay on the other. What are you telling me now?
So Jay is on the line. Whoever I put on was the one calling in.
All right. Oh, all right. Hello, Jay. What's up, Jay?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are y'all?
All right. So that was a Micah error. I just
my apologies.
It's on
hey,
Micah.
that's gonna affect his Wonderlic score when he gets out for those combines here in a couple of weeks.
Seriously, he cut his hair. That's right. He cut his hair. He looks all good. Now he's like, what? All right, operator error on that one. What's up, Jay?
Nothing much. How y'all doing today? Thanks for taking my call. So I'm going to agree with JJ when JJ kind of went on his rant. Basically, that a lot of these penalties seem to, or a lot of these rules, I shouldn't say penalties, but a lot of these rules tend to affect the defense adversely. Now, I want to just talk about the pass interference rule. Now, one of the things about that rule is it was put in the books at a time when the NFL was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. So and throughout time it's kind of evolved. But when you have basically teams dropping back and throwing the ball 50 times a game, as opposed to running it 50 times a game like they did in the old days,
Tommy on the line.
that's when probably it's time to kind of tweak that rule a little bit. You know, I agree with JJ, though. I don't think DB coaches teach their players, look, if you're beat, just drag the guy down.
Well, they don't now, but if the penalty was 15 yards, I think that might be a little bit more part of the strategy.
That could happen. And you know, you do see from time to time where defensive players, they'll get away with what they can get away with. So when they're in pass coverage, if they can hold when somebody's at the top of the route, they'll do that. You know, if they're able to just grab and clutch a little bit at the top of the route, they'll do that. Now, conversely, offenses adjust and they run pick plays and they run, run a lot of other stuff here that never gets called as well. I mean, how many times during the course of a season do you see a helmet-to-helmet called on the offense? Like maybe once or twice. You'll see it on the defensive bunch.
Very rarely.
So anyway, that was my thought for the day. Thanks for taking my call, gents.
No, appreciate that. Thank you. Tommy, what's good? Give us some truth. I need a little truth.
Hey, what's up, guys? Tommy, the truth back at you. I agree with you 110%. The rule as far as fumbling into the end zone, just put it back, loss of downs back at the 25. And then I think the pass interference stuff should be a spot foul, 15 yards first down. That's not the spot foul where you put it at the place where, if it's a 40-yard pass, it's right there. It should be 15 yards and first down. I think that's good enough.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you, Tommy. So actually, JJ, see, we actually disagree on that because you and I both think that it's right going through the end zone. It should be a touchback. He's saying put it back at the 20, which I would listen to that. I mean, if that's what you want to tell me, but I think it's right. I don't think that's a rule that needs to be changed, and you're agreeing with me on this.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's a harsh penalty because you lost possession of said football through the end zone. End zone is the key word in all this. Other parts of the field, it's okay to be different. All right, fumbled out of bounds at the 40, we retain possession because no one got it. But in the end zone where there's, as you know, the article pointed out, we're reading from Jay Busby and Yahoo, there's like three outcomes, either a touchdown, touchback, or safety. Yeah. So there are outcomes associated with the end zone as opposed to other parts of the football field. And when it comes to the pass interference conversation, where I don't get overly worried about it changing the game where defensive backs are just going to start tackling players, is just watch college football. They have that rule, and the game is just not dominated by defensive backs tackling players all the time.
Totally fair. Totally fair. Anthony, good morning. And I think I lean your way on that, by the way. I think it should be capped at 15. Hello, Anthony.
Hey, what's going on, guys? About the fumble rule, I mean, I know what you're saying, Jeff. You don't want to reward the offense, but what you're doing is you're rewarding the defense for doing nothing.
But how do you say nothing?
Well, because you fumbled the ball, right? First of all, a fumble is not a turnover. A fumble recovery could be a turnover, but a fumble is not a turnover. Fumble goes out of bounds. They don't just say, hey, the defense knocked it out of your hands. You guys get the ball because you guys forced it out and it went out to 13, so let's give it to the defense. They don't do that. Went out of bounds, you didn't recover it. Nobody recovered it, it goes back to the offense where it went out of bounds. So if it goes through the end zone and you didn't recover the fumble, you didn't get a turnover. So why are we rewarding the defense for not doing something that they have to do throughout the rest of the game?
So where do you want to do? What do you want to do with it?
I don't know. To me, if you turn it over, I like going a 10-yard penalty. Just make it a penalty. If you fumble it through the end zone, it's a 10-yard penalty from the start of the play. Replay the down. So if it's 4th and 6,
replay the down.
From the 6-yard line, you go back to the 16th-yard line, like a holding play. You fumbled the ball through, you got penalized for it, but the defense did not recover the fumble.
Yeah. I think there's two different conversations here, because I totally disagree. Defense didn't do anything. Now, I'll give you, they didn't recover the fumble. They didn't force the turnover, but to say they did nothing.
But they don't do everything on every play. You're assuming that every play they force the fumble. They don't. So what are you going to do? Say, oh, well, the guy reached for the end zone, he accidentally dropped the ball. So on that play, it's not a touchback, and the defense gets the ball because the defense did nothing there. The guy just fumbled the ball. The guy's running on an 80-yard touchdown pass, puts the ball up in the air, and he drops it before he hits the end zone. It goes through the end zone.
It's on him.
Oh, the defense didn't do anything. But you're rewarding the defense for doing nothing. I mean, they do anything. Did they cause? All they did was cause a fumble. Causing a fumble is not a fumble recovery by the defense.
But it's not doing nothing. I agree with you. I agree with half your point. Yeah, no, it's fair. It's Anthony. No, it's a good suggestion. I appreciate the call.
And
so what he said,
pass interference, guys.
Yeah.
How about you just have something called an intentional pass interference, right? It's a 15-yard spot foul, like college, because college rule is better. I think everybody agrees with that. But if you do the hold, if you do something just to protect that play, have an intentional pass interference, and that's a spot foul.
It's like a breakaway foul in basketball, right? It's like you're giving
him free throws. Basketball. It's spot foul. And it protects. It gets the rule back to being something like college, which is normal, but then it protects the offense from somebody just grabbing and pulling down, which, like Jay just said, that doesn't really happen in college. You never see that. But
I'm actually with you on that.
Then it's a spot foul.
I appreciate that. No, I like that.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
See you. I'd like to see. I mean, what has happened 3 times a year? The ball gets fumbled through the end zone. Like, I'd love to see the plays because to tell me the defense did nothing. I think I disagree 95% of the time. Now, did they create the turnover? That's a fair conversation. Did they recover the fumble? Should they be rewarded for that? To me, it's penal. To your point, it's at the end of the field. I think it's the right rule. But if you want to tell me, like he says, 10-yard penalty, lost it down, or replay down, I would say 10-yard penalty and lost it down. I think there's got to be some sort of penalty for like reaching. It's a risk reward, right?
Yes. It's now that you're finally getting some thoughts on the other side, it's good to hear, as opposed to just, give them the ball at the 20. What was it, the 20 and first down? What's the point? Like, if it was a 4th down play, do they still get the ball back? So getting some thoughts on the other side to it is nice, because everyone just says it's a bad rule and then you just stop there.
Okay, what if it happens on a 2-point conversion? Then do you replay the down?
It's like, what do you want to do then? Because I think you can state a difference between a ball going out of play at the 40 versus a ball going out of play in the end zone. And I do like the suggestion of the intentional pass interference.
I like that a lot.
I never like putting more on referees. That seems like one, it's pretty simple. If you just see you tackle someone down the field, then you can make that call like clear path in basketball.
Yeah, and I think it's got to be on if you're grabbing him when you get beat. It can't be you went up and tackled the guy in the end zone like a regular pass interference. It's got to be a grab to keep him back. Well, but that's going to be a tough one to adjudicate as well. 505-246-0610, because you start thinking, all right, well, I'm beat. How are you judging intent now, right? Did I tackle the guy in the end zone and make it look like a regular pass interference? But I like where it's going. Got some little basketball email to read for you when we get back. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This from our science.
Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it.
They're really
Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh!
Nick Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
He scored!
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did!
Oh
my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlings, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay,
I got you. Measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
Let's throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up, man's wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room.
Crazy little day today. Enjoyable, though. Opening drive, wrapping you up on your game day Wednesday, day game Wednesday. Get an afternoon Lobo game, 1 o'clock over on News Radio KKB, 12:30, the pregame show with Robert Portnoy and Hunter Green.
It's Thursday.
What did I say?
Wednesday.
Yeah, whatever.
Don't take us back a day. Don't
They're
do
all
that.
put Groundhog
on us,
Day.
Ricky Bobby.
It's like damn Groundhog's Day anyway, isn't it? I mean, a lot of you guys, like, I look at the Pro V guys. They go to the office every day. They're going to work, so you guys probably have a better schedule. Micah's going to the office every day. You and me, our home is the office. I couldn't leave. I've been having work done at the house this week. Thought it was going to be a 2-day project. Alden, your boss's guys came over, 2-day deal. Now it's turned into a 4-day deal. I can't even go to the office. The hell day is it anyway? Does it matter? Honestly, I guess it does matter because
We still get the weekends. The weekends still matter.
fair enough. It's fair enough. All right, the Lobos still play today. Whatever day it is, they're still playing today at 1 o'clock.
Today at 1.
All right. Jason's in on Lobos. And if you missed it earlier, Leon Rice, the head coach at Boise State, is calling for some sort of a revision of the conference tournament to protect the top 4 teams this year, because there's a chance. Jerry Palm is on with us today from CBS Sports, and he's got 4 Mountain Valley tournament. So Jason says, good morning, OD. Remember when Lobo fan led the charge of, quote, the conference needs the Lobos to be good for the conference to be relevant, end quote. Remember those conversations? Sounds like to me the conference could send 4 or 5 teams in the NCAA tournament and gasp. UNM is not one of them. Seems like the conference is pretty good. The conference is so good that Leon Rice would like to keep the lower tier of the conference home. Lower tier, which UNM currently sits, citing COVID issues as a part of it, which one can see. But I think the top tier does not want their lower tier to infect them with NIT 21 or CBI 21, because those viruses could create financial losses for some coaches. Rice is trying to inoculate his team against those 2 viruses, NIT 21 or CBI 21, with his statement. He was able to build his team's immunity by beating BYU, but did risk severe exposure by getting on a plane and almost losing to San Jose State. Although he was able to fatten up on cupcake like UNM, as food is essential. Coach Rice has tried to stay clean, keeping a spotless record. Okay, Coach, he does make a good point, and I'm actually shocked more UNM fans are not up in arms by the statement, or if Lobo fans completely checked out. It's from Jason. It is just a real weird world we're living in, man. It's just, it's bizarre. And then it comes to Gopher, where he says, Lobo basketball fan isn't in a good place right now, Jeffy, because when was the last time the OD got a call from Brutus or from Leroy? He's right. He's right. Jason's also in on the, I asked, who's better this year, the Mountain West or the American? And he gave me the Mountain West standings by the top 5, Boise State, Utah State, Colorado State, Nevada, and San Diego State. And they've lost to Houston, South Dakota, Grand Canyon, San Francisco, St. Mary's, and BYU, where the ACC's top teams, Houston, Wichita State, Tulsa, SMU, and South Florida, have lost to each other, Missouri, Oklahoma State, South Carolina. Certainly better losses. Fair enough. Fair enough. They're certainly better losses there. All right, Grady's in, JJ, to play devil's advocate to Anthony and others' assumptions. He says, if you change the end zone fumble rule, you're assuming the defensive player would not have recovered the fumble. The ball going out of bounds of the end zone prevents the defense from having a chance to recover it. Fair. He says, don't change the rule. But that doesn't mean you recovered it. JJ, Anthony was saying you're rewarding the defense for not doing anything. So on a holding call against the offense, you're rewarding the defense for being held? Like sometimes you're penalizing instead of rewarding, right? Like on a missed field goal, the defense didn't do anything. Should the offense get another chance? Sometimes you get penalized for what you did. And in this case, the way I see it, you fumbled through the end zone. It's penal. Are you rewarding? I mean, as a result of somebody's penalty, is there a reward? I imagine. And certainly in these cases there is. But when a defensive end's coming around, and let's just say we see this all the time. You run an off-tackle play, and a guy gets loose for 17 yards, and you got it called back because a wide receiver on the out, holding on number 81, way away from the ball, a guy held. Defense gets rewarded for doing what there? That 17-yard play turns into a 10-yard loss. For what? Did they do anything?
It's a penalty for a reason. It can be harsh, and some are harsher than others, and this is both. It's a penalty and a reward given to the defense. We fumbled out of the end zone, and to me, that is the defining factor in all this. It's not just at the 40-yard line or 37. It's the end of the field. We either score or you don't.
Yeah. And there is a difference, I think, and I know you do. Not everybody does. In the end zone and the 1-yard line. End zone, end of field of play. Boom. You fall off the earth. Like if you fall on the earth, you get to pick yourself back up.
That's where the end of the earth is, actually. It's the end of the end zone. You just haven't realized it. We haven't seen it yet.
Right.
Maybe Kyrie can walk off it and discover it. But it's a situation that, it happened in a playoff game, but it's also one that if you don't need to overreact to it. Because look what happens. When you had the missed call Rams-Saints playoff game, and they're like, oh, this is egregious. Yeah, the refs made a huge mistake. And then you just made a year of football ridiculously confusing trying to review all those things.
And changed it back. Yeah. Thank you to Jerry Palm for being with us today. You can read him over on CBSSports.com or follow him at JPPalmCBS, period. It's on the Twitter. God, why am I having such a problem with that? What's Jerry's Twitter handle?
JP Palm CBS.
Thank you. Jim Rome Show is next. The Dan Patrick Show is after that. Sports Bar at 3. You get a little basketball over on News Radio KKOB. 12:30, the pregame show. Alden, great work, always. Micah, okay work today. I mean, one big flub. You might have lost us a caller forever.
Got a false start flag.
Oh, there's J-Pole. Good work, J-Pole. Didn't see you as well. JJ, enjoy the day.
Have a day, y'all.
Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, it's Scott Stigler for Windsor Door Sales. Ever worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster garage door opener powered by...
All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off. Great hit. He bounces off. Outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run. Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores. Got into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer for Murillo. Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. Was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Danion stripped him. Compiling the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.